Hey there, beautiful souls. It's Charu here with The Art of Integrity. And today we're going to talk about overcoming challenges and the gifts that can actually come out of the challenges that we face. So welcome, and especially welcome if you're in the process right now of living through a challenge, or if you're still raw from the journey through a challenge. So for me, as you may have guessed from the previous videos, the biggest challenge that I overcame was my own self-rejection. And it's still a work in progress. It's not that the self-rejection habits and thoughts and fears and emotions don't come up. It's not that I'm some perfect person who is always 100% confident. It's just that I've discovered a really healthy way to work with the humanness. And I've also discovered a really healthy way to be with what we could call the divinity within me, within all beings, within life itself. And so overcoming the challenges, as we probably all know, it's not something that happens overnight. The first response is often very different from where we end up. And so for me, in this journey of overcoming self-rejection, it was a long path from believing the self-rejecting thoughts completely and truly thinking that it would be better if I was no longer here on the planet as a teenager, all the way through to where I am now, where even when those stories arise or the fears arise, they don't arise at all to the same degree. But even when a fear or a judgment of myself can arise, there's a very different relationship with it. I can honestly say that that journey has been 25 to 27 years. Now, of course, I wasn't consciously engaged with that journey every step of the way, but I just give you that context, because if you're in a process right now of growing or overcoming a challenge, you may be putting pressure on yourself. You may have stories and expectations that tell you that you should be going faster. But the reality is that the depth of understanding that gets cultivated during the process of overcoming challenge is much more valuable to the world, to your soul purpose, to your gifts that want to express themselves here on planet Earth, than rapidly zooming through so that your humanness can come once again to a place of comfort. So why the Art of Integrity exists is because I feel very deeply that it's time for the human and the divine to come together. They've always been together, they are together, there's no gap, but for the expression of the human and the divine to be together. And the way that our conditioned reality is right now, most human beings are at the other end of the spectrum in terms of their expression than the divinity within themselves. There's a big gap between what their human expression is and the truth of the divinity that is at the core of their being. So the Art of Integrity is here to help close that gap, because that's what truly makes a human life worth living. It's not all the trappings outside, it's not even the beautiful experiences that we can have. It is the fulfillment of our soul purpose, and the fulfillment of our soul purpose comes about when the human and the divine in expression become one. So I want to encourage you, if you are facing a challenge right now, to consider that the value is in the depth to which you integrate the lessons, and not in the speed with which you traverse the rocky terrain. Because when you know that path intimately, when you know that you can guide anyone on that path and they will find their way, then you can begin to fulfill your soul purpose, whatever it is. Because your challenges will always correlate to your soul purpose. There's no way for that to not be the case, because every life is so perfectly designed, we could say, planned by the soul prior to incarnation in order to give you the maximum possible chance to fulfill your soul purpose. So I'd love to hear from you. What are the challenges that you have overcome that you can see completely correlate with your soul purpose? What are the challenges you're going through now? And can you see the correlation? And can you find that commitment in your heart to say yes to the depth and slow down to the one who simply wants to rush by and get to feeling good again? You're welcome to leave me a comment below the video. If you don't feel comfortable writing it in public, which is totally fine, you're welcome to send me a message either here on Facebook or via email or WhatsApp, whatever contact details you have for me. I love talking about these topics, as you can see. And if you have any questions that you'd like me to answer, you can also leave them below the video. I'd love to answer them. I would love to engage on topics that truly have meaning for you. So please feel free. I send you so much love, and I'll be back with you again tomorrow. Namaste.